Good morning, everyone, all my sisters and brothers in the room, and welcome to all who are listening to us this morning on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. And so we're going to be discussing this morning about our boundaries in terms of our workplace, our marketplace, our businesses, and however the Lord leads us this morning in conversation. I'm so glad that you all are here. And I'm glad that I am here as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into prayer and then we'll go in and start our conversation this morning. Father, we just thank you this morning for waking us up, God. We thank you for protection over the night. Father, we thank you for the rest that we really need, God. We thank you for rejuvenating our minds, our spirit, our body over the night season, Father. And we thank you for this room. We thank you for all that are in the room and those who are listening to our replay on our YouTube channel. We thank you for joining us and celebrating us on another day of life. We thank you for the conversations that are authentic in this room and that we do honor each other. And we give you praise for this day in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen, everyone. So how is everyone doing? Y'all had some good conversation this morning. You're talking about a little bit of everything. And thank you, Miss Marilyn, for an introduction. And also, we want to say hi, shout out to our sister Regina in Hawaii, having a good time. And I hope she's enjoying herself if she's listening to the replay. We miss you. So let's just get into our topic for today, or topics, depending on how we're going to go. I do want to kind of recap a little bit from last week. I don't know if we finished because we kind of rushed into some things, but we were talking about our personal relationships and the boundaries that we need to establish within the workplace and in terms of personal relationships. We even kind of dived in a little bit about um, situations that come up when we have, relationships, as far as romantic relationships between colleagues in the marketplace, in your work environment, and we have to set boundaries. We're going to just, talk about that if we have any other questions. And we're going to go into our social media and how the boundaries and the words, because I know we've been talking about words this week, and how we speak and how we react to words, and in terms of social media, and also hit a little bit about social events. But before, I want to just go over, remember our affirmations. We have to keep affirming ourselves to ensure that we are not living in condemnation. We're affirming ourselves in those areas where we need to set our boundaries. And then also, we're also requesting that when we establish those boundaries and when they impact others, that our boundaries are respected and we feel respected. So I wanted to hit on a couple of them. If you have your sheets, it's number 5 through number 10. And the number 5 states, I am worthy of respect, and my boundaries serve as a reminder of my values as a professional and as a person. Number 6 is, I release any guilt or fear. So we have to release that. And releasing means that we have to let it go and not pick it back up. So I release any guilt or fear associated with asserting my boundaries, understanding that it's necessary. It's necessary, the act of self-care, because we've talked about self-care and we still have to continue to, just keep having our self-care important, one of the priorities. But we release guilt and fear. And when guilt and fear hits us, sometimes it mobilizes us to be stagnant or to be stuck in a thing because we are fearful of whatever that might be. but we have to definitely denounce that, because God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but he gave us power and love and a sound mind. And we want to keep that, in the forefront. Number 7 is I choose to prioritize tasks and responsibilities according to my boundaries. And it says my boundaries, not someone else's boundaries, but my boundaries, those boundaries that we create, maintaining a healthy work-life balance. And that is so important. And I think we really, really, as a country, as a culture, I think during the time of COVID, we really focus on work-life balance. And I think that that's something that we need to continue to share, our different ways that we might have work-life balance. Some might not know what healthy work-life balance is, but if you have something that's healthy for you or your family, and you can either be in a conversation, or you can even suggest, maybe, you should do this or do that, or maybe adjust your schedule, because a lot of us, we changed our whole world in terms of our environment of where we work. Some of you are in a hybrid situation where you might work from home so many days and go into the building or in your office so many days. And some of us, like myself, are totally remote and work from home. And so when you have these different changes, then you have sometimes flexibility to be able to do a little bit more with your family, or with, or if you're single or alone, you can do things that you probably wouldn't do because you're traveling, on the road. So those days when you're at home and you're teleworking, you might be able to do some things that you wouldn't normally do during the week. So that work-life balance is so important. It is very important that we continue to keep it and keep it balanced. And number 8, by respecting my own boundaries, I encourage others to do the same, fostering mutual understanding and cooperation. Number 9 is I let go of the need to please everyone and prioritize my own well-being by upholding my boundaries. And we don't want to be people pleasers, but even when in the conversation this morning, I thought it was really good, where Marilyn was speaking about, do we overthink some things? And if you're an overthinker, and sometimes when we make decisions, we overthink it. Was that a good decision? Do I need to make some changes? Do I need to modify this? Did I hurt someone's feelings? And so you're reacting the whole situation all over again. You're really shortcoming yourself on the decision that you make, because you keep, if it's a decision, overthinking. And sometimes you can totally sway your whole thought, or your whole I guess your whole decision as to why you're doing something, because you're overthinking it, and you're just reenacting everything all over again. So sometimes we have to, kind of come down on our overthinking, and we just have to be firm in what we've decided, if it's a decision, and just go forward and not be a people pleaser. We're here for us, not for everybody to please them. Because even though you think you might be pleasing them, you don't know if you're pleasing them or not. And then why are we even doing that? We have to be confident in who we are and what we're doing and the decisions that we're making, especially when you're climbing the ladder and you're getting into leadership positions. When you make a decision, especially on your team, or in your group, or in your division, when you make a decision and then you go back into your office and you said, did I make the right choice? What is so-and-so going to think? Is that person going to think because I made that decision, I was targeting them? You just start playing the whole thing over again. And sometimes if you retract your decision, then that doesn't show the strength of your leadership, because you're backtracking. And so, your employees or your coworkers, they can actually, they can sense, well, why she make that decision, then retract it? So then that can cause more misunderstandings within your work environment. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. But before, anybody have any comments or anything before I go to the next one? All right, let's go to the next one. I let go of the need to, oh, we did that one. Number 10, the last one. Each boundary I set is an affirmation of my own self-worth and a commitment to creating a positive work environment for myself and others. So it's not always about us. It's, it's not always about us, but it's for others too. So when we are creating and affirming these boundaries, we're thinking of your own self-worth, but you're also thinking about how that would impact others in your work environment as well. Okay, so we can move on from our affirmations. Always, if you have any comments, anything you want to say, raise your hand, open your mic, and we can discuss it, what you would like to comment or make a point. Okay, Latoya, can you, I can't read these comments. You want to open your mic if you don't mind? And you said when you were, I saw something pop up, if you don't mind.
Yes, good morning, Miss Faith. Good morning, everyone. I was just saying, like in nursing school, when we was doing a test, and they would tell us all the time, do not overthink your answer. Go back and change your answer. Usually the first answer you pick is the right answer, unless you just absolutely know that's just not it. You know what I'm saying? So they would tell us that all the time because they always on there, with those kind of tests, or probably not even nursing school, just any kind of test. I remember like in high school, it's always gonna be something in there that could be possibly right, to kind of whatever to make you think that answer is probably correct. But then they always would say, make sure you read the question and don't overthink it. Don't go back and change your answer. And I remember, sometimes we go back and do it and be like, dang, that was the first answer we picked. So they try to tell you, don't go back and change your answer. Don't overthink it. Read it and understand it and then pick your answer.
That is a good example. Oh, that is great, Latoya. Thank you for sharing. Because when we overthink it and go back, and that is how many times, y'all, how many times have you taken a test in school, even at work when we have training, and you might have the test after whatever you're being trained on, and you're thinking, trying to remember, now, did I or should I? Or was that the right word? And you start going, rationalizing, going through, especially multiple choice, when all of those answers seem like they could be correct. But what is the best answer? And you probably check the best answer, and you go back and change it, and now it's wrong. Oh yeah, that is very frustrating. And it's hard sometimes because we, if you don't know the subject matter, if you're not an expert in this subject matter and you're just hearing it for the first time, and you didn't have time to really, think it, you might be multitasking, taking a course even at home. Sometimes when you might want to take a course on your laptop at work, and the phone rings or someone comes and disturbs you and shifts your whole attention from the content. And I missed that. And so you're thinking it and think you didn't get the right, you didn't choose the right answer for that question. That is so good, Latoya. Thank you for sharing that. That's something that I didn't even think about, to go that far back, to even think, even in school, how we used to do that, with STAR tests. And those STAR tests for these children, they really count. And so I know when they go and take these tests every year, it could be very stressful, when taking examinations and what have you. So thank you for sharing that. So let's go into, someone has their mic open, someone wants to say
Yeah,
anything.
it was me because I was talking about doing the testing, at school and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But we can overthink in life. We can just have so much going on and try to make life decisions and overthink what we thinking about.
Mhm.
So I just thought about that, how we can just overthink in life.
Yes. Oh yeah, we do. We overthink life. That's good, Shirley. Life sometimes takes precedent over what we should be focusing on, especially in the work environment. You leave home in the morning, going to work, and when you left, you had some issues that weren't resolved, and you take those issues with you to work, and you're constantly thinking about, how to do this, what to do, or whatever the situation may be. And you have to kind of either quiet it out, or you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it all day. And so we do overthink. And so, Miss Shirley, when you do that, how do you, or have you, or if you have any tips on what you do when it gets real loud, when you start overthinking, it gets so loud you can't concentrate or whatever.
I have to just take a deep breath and get myself together.
Mm,
And because when you start overthinking, it's not gonna help you solve the problem. So I just have to calm down and be like, okay, it's not as bad as making it. You making it bad, and it's not that bad. So relax and just let go. Do whatever you have to do, and don't worry about anything else. Because sometimes we just make things worse than what it is when it's not that bad.
right. It's not. And thank you for sharing that. Sometimes we just have to breathe and take a deep breath. And especially, oh yes, it's deeper.
Good morning, Miss Faith. I was just thinking about what Toya and Miss Shirley was saying. Yes, even at the workplace, we overthink things. As a project specialist in my role, my boss told us, "Hey, y'all don't need to overthink these projects. Just go with your best answer, how to solve the project. Because the more you overthink, the more stress you're gonna be, and y'all gonna bring stress on me, and I don't need that extra stress. So y'all make the best decision, what's best for the company. When I first started out in this role, I was overthinking, like, am I doing that right? And I'm doing that right. And I would go to my boss for a couple of times. And she's like, Lee, that's what they call me, Lee, my nickname. She's like, go for it. You know what you're doing. Be confident in your answer and move on. So now I'm very confident with the decisions I make when I look at different things, analyze the problem. So, like Miss Shirley said, life, period, work, family, we overthink things like, did we cut the light off on, closing garage? I cut the stove off. So it's just hard, but like she said, I'm learning how to breathe, and that's okay. Take a chiller pill, walk off, and just say, okay, you got this. Just calm down, because all you doing is making yourself upset and making others feel unease too. So, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's good. Um, do we, and stay on for a second, Libra, since you changed so like different responsibilities and added responsibilities, do we overthink things when we are promoted, or we get opportunities that are new to us? Sometimes do we overthink the things that are, I guess you would say, that are you're responsible for, your responsibilities or your job duties or anything like that? Do we overthink those things?
Yes, ma'am. I said I catch myself just looking at stuff like, okay, did I do that properly before I deliver it? So yes, ma'am. I do. But now, like I said, after I do it, I feel my answer. I don't go back to pain. I just feel confident the first time. And so yes, I do. In the beginning, I was doing that, but now just slowing down and just say, okay, just go ahead and go with the flow.
Excuse me. Do you think that have you ever had situations, or anybody can chime in too, at work where you might have a new job or a new responsibility? Do you feel sometimes we might feel we overthink or not feel as confident because we might not be clear on what our responsibilities really are, or whomever the manager, team lead, whoever that person is, didn't communicate what the expectations are in that particular role? Has anybody had a situation like that happen where it's those
Well,
responsibilities clear?
yes, ma'am. I did hear recently when I got communications employee or communications role, I wasn't sure what they wanted expect from me because it wasn't like communicated well, like your duties. You know, I came in and told them what I wanted to do, my vision, but when I got ready to do it, they was like, "Oh, I said, well, y'all didn't tell me that." So now we on the same page, you know, what I need to do in my role. But yes, I was overthinking it at first. So now I got it down now. So yes, ma'am.
So where I'm going is it's important that we have that flow of communication.
Yes, ma'am.
Whomever is responsible for communicating to us in whatever capacity, what is the project, define, what are the expectations, what are the responsibilities in doing this, what's my timeline to get this done. And so I think it's a responsibility for us to ensure that those elements are included, are communicated. Hey, Miss Anita, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it goes back to effective communication. You have to make sure that you have all the areas covered or all the areas are covered, whether you are the facilitator or you are actually the one that's doing the project. And that comes with asking questions, asking the appropriate questions, and really just having an understanding of what is expected. We have to give the expectations, and we have to know the expectations, and that's going to come with communicating. And we can communicate, but is it effective? Is the language going to produce the product that's expected? And that's the main thing. When you have the correct dialogue and you on the same page, it always make it much easier to produce. All the doubt is gone because and then it's just a matter, once you have reached that point, you know what you need to do. That's when you can align everything in order to produce the product. And once you do that, you go back and check. Of course, I validate everything that I do to make sure that I've crossed all T's and dot all I's. I double check myself because I'm my worst critic, because I'm a perfectionist in whatever I do. And I want it to be right, because if it came from Anita Bell, then I have the name that, okay, that product is good. That product is right. And that's just me.
And so, Anita, um, I might be like maybe 30% of perfectionist to the degree.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you a question, and it's really kind of hitting me right now in this role of a contractor. Whatever I do, I want my name, everything check, 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 check.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, because that's all I have, me and my name. That's me.
Yes. Yes.
And so I might not be like my counterparts because they are in a role that they've been doing longer than I have been doing. And they're federal workers. I'm a contractor. I haven't done the work that they've been doing since 2010 because I went to management. And when you're in management, you don't do the work, operational work, hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
So they have to get caught up on all the new policies, all the new systems.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, with my workload, I might have 100 actions to do. My counterpart might have 100, but they might get done quicker because they're going through it, But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick it apart. I'm gonna pick it apart, and I'm gonna ensure that what I'm doing is lining up. If I have any questions, I'm gonna go back and get clarification, because I don't like to retract things, and I don't like to.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, sometimes I don't know if it's overthinking, but I think when I give a product out, it's quality. It's not so much expeditious, we did it fast as far as production. I'm more about the quality piece. Have you talked to me about quality?
Yes, I'm about quality as well. And sometimes if I've been placed, it's just like now, when I go back to work on Monday, because a lot of there's been a lot of changes. So I'm going to be in training for like 30 days to get caught up on everything. So there's going to be times to where, oh yeah, I'm gonna be calling. It's just I'm going to have to do that in order to get caught up. So, and then I'm going to have to come in earlier or stay later or whatever, just to where I'll have an understanding and to where I can become effective back at the level where I was before this happened. Sometimes we have to take those necessary steps to invest in ourselves, and that's not on the clock. You have to use your own time and study, as they say, study and make yourself approved. And that's necessary. That's necessary. And once I do that, then I know I'm going to be comfortable in the new areas and what's expected. And that's just me. It's just like when I first got in management. Um, I came in 5 hours before my actual tour. I would come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and my tour actually didn't start to 10 because I wanted to learn the entire aspect, the morning operation as well as the evening operation. So I knew the 10 o'clock, the closing part, but I didn't know the morning part. So I had to invest in myself in order to learn the open from open to close. And I did that, I think, for about a month or so. And once I learned the operation, then I was effective. I could open and close in any office that I went to because the dynamic was the same process. Maybe they did it a little different, but you knew the basics. And that's what we have to do, is step outside of what's expected and do it on our own time, should I say, in order to learn what you need to learn.
Right, right. That is really good. We have to do that investment, in ourselves. And then also, Anita, it was good that you said that we have to sometimes adjust our life to
Yes.
those areas where we need to just have a little bit more firm and feeling comfortable and that new, not really new, but just reacquainting yourself to make you
Yes.
feel a comfortability that you can go forward and you can act in that capacity and know that the decisions that you make, you are up to date on what's going on in the environment, in the workplace, and also, what's impacting who you are supervising or whatever,
Yeah.
and what have you.
Yes.
That's
And it also has a lot to do with commitment. Are you committed? Are you committed to excellence? Are you committed to what's expected of you? And on everything that I do, I'm committed to excellence in my personal life and in my professional life. And one of my best friends, she said, Anita, it's not that serious. You can stress yourself out. And then that's when you come and you have to, I guess that's where the boundaries come in, and you have to really, really put um dialogue and then look at everything to see, okay, what the time that I invest in this, what do I need to do? And start picking everything apart and just really see to where you will not become so stressed to where you can just beat yourself down and then get burned out, because that's what you don't want to do, is become burned out on anything. You want to actually love and have fun in everything that you do.
But I need to stay on Gigi and Venora. If you like to come on in, you can. And welcome to everyone who has joined this morning. We're talking about boundaries in the workplace, also in the marketplace, in your business, whatever. We're just discussing that. Please feel free to chime in. One thing I wanted to say now, when your friend said it's not that deep, or what did she say? I don't want to misquote her. What
She
you
said
said.
basically it's not that necessary or it's not that critical is
Okay.
what she was trying to say. She was trying to tell me to ease up, you know.
You
Yeah.
see, everybody has a different, I don't want to say passion about their
Mhm.
career, their work. Some might say, "Oh, I just go to work just to get the bills paid."
Right.
The tie-in to, I guess you would say, the relationship between who you are and who you're working for might not be in sync. You're
Hmm.
there to get the direct deposit in your checking account every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever, but you don't have any loyalty
That's it.
to the organization, to the company, to the initiative, the buy-in, that I am really here doing the job. I want to elevate. And so I believe what I'm basically trying to lay it out. Do we have core values?
Yes. And that's the main thing is the loyalty. The loyalty. I mean, she had loyalty as well, but we were in two different elements and environments. I'm in management and you a worker.
Yeah.
And so the mindset was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and also that's what we have to look at is the we have to be able to know our peer group and then have an understanding, because I'm a firm believer association bring on assimilation, and you have to have the wisdom to understand how to have a closed ear to some of the things that you hear and not gravitate to that. And I thank God that I had the wisdom and I'm experienced, and I have to let her know that, okay, you're in one element, I'm in another. You're a craft employee and I'm in management. Our mindset is totally different. It
Right.
may not be that serious to you because what's expected of you is different.
Right. Exactly.
You in operations. I'm
Right.
not.
Right.
So, and we have to be able to, like I said, we have to be wise enough and have to understand, and even just in life, we have to know what worked for you don't work for me. What you accept, I don't accept. And not to say that it's anything wrong with any of it. It's just our tolerance level and our boundaries are different because we're different people. And it's not anything wrong with anything. I am, I expect, because that's the way I was raised. So my parents, my father was like, if you can't do it right, then don't touch it. If
Mm.
you can't see it through, then don't touch it. And I goes back to like my aunt's funeral service this weekend. I was basically the lead and everything, and we had an abundance of everything. I mean, over. No one had to wonder about anything because I crossed every T and I dotted every I. And I thank God that there was a team that God had put behind me to make sure that everything was covered. I mean, we had an enormous amount of food and everything. And that's just what I do. And that's not to be braggadocious or anything like that, but I I'm harder on me than I am anybody else because I know how I was raised. That's the way my parents was, is that whatever you do it right, because
Yeah.
your name determines your character and who you are. And if you don't think that you can do it, don't commit to it. And leave it alone. Let someone else go in and take that task on. But if you do it, then sometimes it will cost you to have to exceed the amount of hours that's necessary on the job. Then that's when you have to step outside and use your own time and invest in yourself in order to produce what you need. But then once you have become comfortable and you know what you know, then you will be able to excel in that.
Mhm. I want to, something you said triggered for me, and I want to make sure that we address it. And like I said, anyone come on, Gigi, Venora. Something that I think that we just need to say, since we're coming to a close, and we've been, talking here in this environment in regards to career, climbing the ladder, being a builder, a ladder builder, a holder, an extender. Do we feel comfortable when we have to say, I need help, or I need some guidance when given a task, or when given a project, or whatever, and after reviewing everything, do we feel comfortable in saying I need assistance, or do we try to do it anyway so we could save face in the work? What?
I will ask. Saving face, I know who I am and I know whose I am, and I'm confident in me. However, I don't know everything. And if I need help, oh yeah, of course I'm going to try on my own. But if I feel like, okay, no, this is just not, I'm not here. Oh yeah, I will pick up the phone. I will email. I will call. No, that's just me, because I want the product to be what's expected. It's not about saving face with me. It's about the commitment, the product that I produce.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have insecurities, and I thank God that I'm not an insecure individual at no level, at any level, and I don't have a problem with what one says about me. What I care about is my name.
Mm-hmm.
My name means more to me than anything, because once again, what my parents said, your name is all you have, and you keep that name clean, and you do what you are supposed to do. And that goes with me producing a quality product. If I have to call you, then, or if I have to ask, then that's what I will do. Because I already told V, boo, I will be blowing your phone up to get all this down when I go back on Monday, and she already knows, so she's already prepared.
Is V Venora?
Venora, yeah, yes.
Or come on in here. Are you
Yes,
gonna?
ma'am. And that's funny that she said that, because I was thinking about, quality products as well. And that even goes with, producing or trying to promote team leads. And if somebody comes to me and wants the opportunity to even have the hey, Miss V, I want to come up as a team lead, or we call them 204Bs, and I'll tell them what I look for. And if I feel that person has that type of leadership qualities, then yes, I'll go ahead and bring them in. But sometimes, a lot of the times, what I come to find out, yes, they say one thing, but show me another.
Yes, they're not committed.
Right, they are not committed. And I have one that I'm working with now, and he's been at two different post offices. So I brought him into mine. I brought him up just to kind of see what's going on. And he's not committed. He still thinks like a craft employee. So, he hasn't set his boundaries yet either. He says he wants to do one thing, but he shows a different thing.
Mm-mm-mm. So how do we help, or do we help? You communicate, hey, you bring it to their attention, but is it really up to them to make those mindset shifts of that when they're climbing the ladder? Hey, you going up 2-3 steps here. You need to change your thought process of, where you are and who you are in this role. How do we help them to to be achievable?
What I've done with him is that I basically sat him down and I told him, when you wanting to come up as a 204B, I said, you can't think about yourself and yourself only, like, oh, he's still young. And oh, I'm gonna ride the clock, because a lot of them will do that just to get the little extra hours. Um, he's still playing with the craft employees, like, they're his buddies. Yeah, they're his buddies at one point in time. But like I tell him, and I've told another young lady, once you come and you step on this side, you have to change your mentality, the way you think, because you're on this side of the fence, not on that side of the fence. They are your subordinates at that point. So he's having a very hard time dealing with that. But I'm noticing he's doing that at every office. So it's not just at my office.
Wow. So that means that he's indoctrinated in that mindset or in that culture.
Correct.
And he can't break away from it.
Correct.
And that's going to hinder his career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might get there, but it's going to take a slow road.
Right. I just don't feel that he's ready yet. And that may be the key word. He's just not ready. He doesn't know really what he wants to do, because it's always, he's came to me before, like, maybe I want to do IT, maybe I want, he's still not sure what he wants to do. So I think he's still trying to fill out what he wants to do with the Postal Service.
Okay.
You-
Put
in
him
the-
on pause, right?
In the way that I do, when I have an employee that's interested in becoming a leader, the first thing I look at what you give as a craft employee. And if you was a lazy employee, then you're going to be a lazy leader. And that's going to be difficult for your team or your employees to respect you, especially if you are brought up or you are managing in the environment in which you worked. That's very difficult. And it's just same thing for, it's like being a carrier. I look at your paces, your movement in the office, as opposed, if you're sluggish and all of that. No, I'm not going to what am I saying? I'm not going to I may not bring you up in my office, and I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind that this is what you want to do. But also, I am going to begin to give you tasks and see how you handle the small tasks, as opposed to allowing you to come up as a leader in my environment, because I know how I am and I know how I manage. And I expect you to fulfill the duties, especially if I invest in you, because my mindset is either a skill or a will issue. Once I provide you all the skills that you need to be successful, then, and I will train and overtrain and work with you. I will use my own time to invest in you, because I'm just a firm believer. Once you take your time and invest in your people, that product is going to be what you need. You have to invest in your people in order to be successful, to build a successful team. You have to take that time out. And if I'm investing in you and you're not investing in yourself, you're not what I need. And I will, professionally and explain that to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so important, Anita. I did the same thing, and I saw, how an employee could have, or they can have all of the functional skills at a high level to have accuracy, and they're dependable and whatever. But on the leadership side, they're left, right?
Right.
I took my employees, and I invested time, and I formulated a transformation table with couple employees and some of my friends or whatever, and we would meet once a week for an hour, and we talked about changing your world. And we talked about things that would impact to change their world, because until we change our world, we can't influence anybody else to change their world, right? They're looking at us. And I saw her totally change, because the light bulb came on, because she felt that she wasn't, I guess she felt like she wasn't the right person,
Uh-huh.
confident in who she was. Her confidence level started to rise.
Uh-huh.
Even in our home life, it changed. A lot of things changed. And so we do have to invest. And sometimes, like you said, you have to take the time outside of work sometimes to invest in those. Not everybody,
Right.
not
Right.
and
Right.
prayer. It's one thing that we haven't, really touched on. A lot of these decisions, what we're talking about, champions, it starts with Jesus being in the center of it all. I mean, you have to go and you have to, because you're putting yourself on the line when you're making these investments, because you
Mm.
never know what's impacting them at home. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
Something and all that investment that you put into whomever, it can backfire.
Exactly. And it can. And that's when I look at myself as being one of, like I said, one of the old heads and then one of the seasoned leaders. And I can basically look at you. I watch your style, your work ethics, like I said, as a craft employee, to determine if you're going to be a good leader, or should I say, if you're going to be an investment for the company. And that's how I go. And I thank God that I do have that skill set to be able to determine if this is what you want or this is what you need to give you the tools to be successful. And a lot of times, being in leadership, a manager or a supervisor may not be the environment that you need to be in, but as Venora said, you may want to go to IT, or you may want to go to marketing or something of that nature. And then that's what comes with watching your people. When your people come to you and say they want to elevate and they want to advance in the organization, then that's when you take the time out to talk to them, to see where their skill sets are and to where their knowledge is, and
Mhm.
and then help them, to assist them in order to elevate to the area where they want to go.
and
As a
and oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, as a leader, that's what you do.
Right.
You invest in your people and help them to advance.
Mhm. And I know that probably some of us on here, I know Venora and Anita, because they are federal, they sometimes have their employees to develop an IDP, which is an individual
Yes, to develop. Yes.
plan, that you plan out what type of you might want to say details or assignments that you might be on for a certain period of time, to kind of, I guess you say, wet your whistle in different
Yeah,
areas to see as to where you might want to, direction you might want to go. And they have detailed assignments that you can go on for a certain period of time, just to see, if that's something that you might want to go into. And then you have a plan, like your ladder, where you want to go next, even
yeah.
within the same organization. Uh, and then find more about, maybe shadow someone
Mhm.
that expert in that area, maybe a couple of days, and kind of follow them around about what they do and how they do it. And those flexibilities are there, and tools are there to help people be able to determine what path they want to go on in their career,
Correct.
you know. And I think probably in private industry, Venora and Anita, they probably have those same types of tools to use, and they might not call it the same thing, but to help employees do that. And that's why it's important, you know, performance during performance time. That's a time of the year that I really wasn't, I mean, I loved it, but then I didn't, because one thing I want us to, I know we totally shifted from what we were supposed to talk to, but I'll talk about today, but that's fine. But with your performance evaluations are so important. During the year that you do your self-assessments when asked. At one point, I've had several teams, but out of 18 people that I was assigned to lead, it comes around when you have your midpoint and you have your end of year assessment. They have to tell me, in writing. Well, they don't have to, it's optional, but they have to tell me what they did, like what special projects they did, how they did it, and what value did it bring to the organization. And those are the things, because I can't be in everybody's world every day to actually know everything that they've done and what accomplishments that they have made. How many out of 18 submitted that? Maybe 4 out of 18. So I said one year, I said, you have to paint your own canvas.
You do.
I can't paint it. I'm only one person. I can't tell your story like you can tell your story.
Right.
And then I'm a good writer, but one gets tired of developing something that is substantial to represent you, and it's not me. So I'm getting very creative, in writing to represent that employee when I know that employee is a good employee. Yes, I know you got a lot of work, but sometimes you got to take that outside of the workplace and you got to develop those things to give to me when you're at home on the weekend or in night or whatever. You have to invest. Please do not let those opportunities pass you by when it's time for you to submit that kind of information to your leader, your manager, supervisor, whatever, because that's money right there.
Yeah.
You only
Yes.
get increase in your performance based on that. And if they don't have any data, see, I like data. I want to know how many you did, how many were accurate. If you have an expectation to do 100, you did 150. I want to know why you did 150. I want to know what was the situation. You have to, we have to develop that analytical thought and be able to translate it into data so you have metrics to know that I'm above the average, you know. Benora, Miss Gates, Anita, you got anything on that about performance and the importance of that?
Well,
And how
I don't have, good morning. I don't have anything per se on that, but what I wanted to say was I thank God this morning for the Benoras and the Anitas in the workplace that, do take time and to invest in their employees, because not every leader does that. And I was reminded of, um, I had almost a 35-year career at one company. And I remember one time God promoted me into a position, and I knew it was him because I didn't even know how to turn the computer on. This was many years ago. And God had put a person, in the same environment or around me that took my hand and said, "You see that little I and O on the computer? Right there, click that." And because I had came from an assembly line, I used to build air conditioners for cars. And so, and this job that the company that I'm speaking of, that I was there almost 35 years, I received a phone call and was hired. I hadn't even put in an application. So it was definitely God ordained. But again, I just wanted to, say openly on this YouTube, so that those on YouTube listening, we have to be thankful for those, like I say, Venoras and Anitas in the workplace. And that's what I wanted to share this morning.
Thank you, Miss Gates. I appreciate that. Okay.
And
Anita, okay.
yeah, and doing in the Postal Service is called the NPA, National Performance Assessment. And yeah, every year, then you have to basically when I complete mine, I do it in the STAR format, the same way we do the KSAs. the situation, the task, the action, the result. What was my performance at the beginning of the year? I'll do a summary of what I tasked, whether it was budgeting the hours, whether it was our what is it called? The window performance, how many uh um oh Renora, what is it at the window? I can't, my mind is gone blank. When they come out and they are
Wait time in line.
yeah, wait time in line.
RCEs.
Yes, yes. And then I'll look and see what I had the previous year and then what it was this year, how we excelled in that. So I do a comparison of what it was and what it is, what it was when I last year, and I compare the two in FY whatever to FY what it is now. And basically, when you are doing the NPA assessment, you're selling yourself. You're telling what you're giving your accomplishments. And that's very critical because you're telling what you did. And that's the time that you brag on yourself. You know, you tell, okay, I did this, my team and we did this. And my supervisor or whatever, we exceeded in our scanning. It was this, it was that. That's the time that you brag on yourself to and then sometimes after you start doing your research and looking at everything, you be like, dang, I didn't realize this. And that's when you like, okay, I want my worth. That's like you said, that's when the bonuses and everything comes in. So that's the time for you to talk. If you are speechless the entire year, that's the time that you open up your mouth and put your pen to paper or your fingers to the computer to tell your story.
Right, right. And it's important too. I know we're closing out and we're going to have this break, and we won't be together every day like we have been. But whatever you do, I want to leave this point. Think about process improvement. Think about things that you can do in your work environment where you're more efficient, or if there are gaps in certain areas. Think about those processes. I'm a process-driven
Yeah,
person.
I am as
So
well.
I'm very process driven. And so with that being said, I'm always looking at ways that it can improve, the company, improve, work processes, even in the federal government, why we do certain things. And, in some cases you can get compensated for that, but even to make your work, your personal work, a little bit more efficient and not work hard. Work
Yes,
smart.
smart and not hard. Yes.
Yes, and it's important to look at that and get credit for it, and maybe even go and once you've proven that this is an efficient task or process or change, talk to your manager, your supervisor, your leader, and say, this is what I've done and this is the outcome. I've tested it, blah, blah, blah. And it's efficient. It'll cut down, time of work and quality, and, you get an increase of blah, blah, blah. So those types of processes, that's the kind of stuff that you would put in your performance. Those are the kind of things that you would, even if it just impacts you, I think that is important to put those things in there. Well, it's at the 7 o'clock hour. Anybody have anything else they would like to say in the room? Open up your mics. I know this is our last time we're going to be together. Any testimonies that, since we've been talking about careers, workplace, anything anyone wants to share, an opportunity that might have come your way that didn't before, because you made some changes, some growth, some thoughts, anything anyone wants to share before we go today? Anything? Well, since no one has anything to say, I just want to say, first of all, I have an opportunity that came available to me, and I thank God for it, that I'm going to be conducting a workshop next Friday. So y'all keep me in prayer morning in a women's conference called Outpouring here in DFW in Irving. And so I'm very thankful for that, and talking about building effective teams, that there's a sustainable in ministry and in business. So see how you just give out, and sometimes those things come back to you, where opportunities can open up for you to communicate whatever, your passion is, or whatever your, expertise is in whatever areas. So always, be able to give, and to not expect anything in return. And then God shows those opportunities, those show up for you to be able to grow and expand. And another opportunity is I was asked to be the director of a women's ministry, that for a ministry that is online as well. And I'm just very grateful for that. And that happened last week. So these opportunities will come to you if you allow, God to do those works, when inside of you, and know who you are. Be confident of who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what, things you might have missed. God will do it all in his time, but we have to allow him. We have to open up and allow him to do the work within us. And we have to remember everything that we've been taught, climbing that ladder. Does the ladder, one thing I want to leave with y'all, think about it over the summer, do some things that will help you, self-care, continually think about the things that you want to perfect in your life, your social life, all those things that we've been talking about, setting those boundaries, being resilient, being adaptable. But really think about this. Does the ladder ever end? When you're climbing that ladder, does it ever stop? It shouldn't stop. We should continuously climb the ladder. I don't care if you're retired like myself. You keep climbing the ladder, because you always should be bringing somebody up with you. So whatever God puts in you, whatever you put in yourself and others that pour into you, continuously help those to climb the ladder. And as you go up, they will go up as well. So any last words for today? It's 7:04. Anything else? Thank you, guys. I see some of the thank yous and congratulations and everything in the chat, and I really appreciate it. I would appreciate the prayer. Just appreciate the prayers, and I'm so thankful for all of you guys. It's been a wonderful time, and I know that we will be back in touch. Please stay in touch if you need anything over our break time. Make sure to reach out to us. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. We're still here, but just reach out and be able to help each other out, be able to get together over the summer months and maybe have lunch together, do something different. That's all I'm saying. So I would like to close out in prayer, and you all have a wonderful day and rest of the week, and we'll see you all soon. Father, we thank you for this time of conversation today. We thank you, God, for your love and kindness and tender mercies and your grace, God. God, touch everyone who is in this room, their families, God, keep them safe. And those who are listening to the replay on our YouTube channel, touch them as well. We thank you for this time together of growth and expansion and emerging, God, as we are great leaders. We're breakfast of champions, and we are encouraged. So we thank you, Father, for all that you're doing in our lives, God, and touch and help others to come up to the levels that you would like them to in their passion and in their purpose. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. You all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to y'all soon.